Hey guys, welcome to episode 11 of the Personal Project Podcast. This is a personal development podcast where I, katyarrington, discuss my personal project, me. I'm an artist and life coach. I struggled with anxiety, depression, insecurity, self-loathing, procrastination, and much more. And this podcast is my weekly update on what I'm doing to create a better life for myself. Okay, so I'm pretty excited for this episode, but I'm also quite nervous because it's I just hope it doesn't sound too abstract. I hope I can construct my thoughts properly and I hope it makes sense, but I know there are going to be people who think I'm crazy and who think I don't make any sense. So that's okay. That's totally okay. So from last episode, if you guys heard it, you know that I was talking about losing subscribers because I'm making different kinds of videos and it totally makes sense. It's very normal for people to, lose subscribers if there's a change in topic, right? So that's totally okay and I'm okay with that. But personally for me, I am still struggling definitely with the identity shift. Like it's really... I've just been known for so long as an artist, right? Like as a digital artist, and I've definitely identified with that for a very long time. And so this identity shift is very scary for me. And one of the things that I guess like brought this all up again is, well, one, the Japan trip, like I said, really affected me. Just seeing the Harajuku kids be radically who they are is just really, really cool and inspiring to me. So it makes me want to just create whatever it is I want to create, right? But the other thing too was that, okay, so I'm back into my normal routine. I'm trying to get some work done. I'm trying to get like a schedule going and I'm trying to plan out my tasks and all this stuff for the next few weeks, especially because I'm about to travel again. And at first I was thinking like, I definitely wanted to make a life coaching video every week, and another would be like an art coaching video every week, and then the podcast episode every week, right? So that's 3 videos a week. And as I was looking at that just kind of filled me with a lot of overwhelm. That just seems like a lot of work. And I'm not saying hard work is bad. Like actually hard work is great, right? But like when I look at that schedule, that really to me looks like a hamster just spinning on its wheels. And one of the things that I'm learning a lot about is that, well, first, a lot of us have this belief that it takes a lot of hard work to make money. And so a lot of us shy away from believing that we can make more money because we don't want to work that hard. Actually, that's a very limiting belief, and it's not true. There are many people who make a good deal of money without working until they're dead, without killing themselves. It's very much possible to make money without just spinning in that hamster wheel. And so I really wanted to be conscious of that I wasn't just going to be like spinning and pushing out content as much as I can instead of like really being intentional on what it is that I do and making sure that I'm doing the things that really matter. Because then there's also this other rule, quote unquote, or this other thing that I'm learning, which is called the 80-20 principle. It's a rule in business and in life, I guess, where 20% of the thing that you do results in 80% of your results. So like you have actually a very small amount of the most important things that you do that create most of your results. So a lot of us end up just doing a lot of busy work and still not getting the result that we want because we're trying to do too much. We're not looking at the 80-20. We're not like really honing in on what's actually the most important things that we need to do to create most of our results. So with those two things in mind, I just really wanted to be like conscious of that when I was making my schedule and stuff. And so for me, like the idea Doing a life coaching video every week sounds great. Doing the podcast episode like I'm doing right now sounds great, because these two I actually like. I feel like that's pretty easy. Those are the things that I really want to do. And I do want to create art coaching videos, but the idea of committing to like one every week for that as well, because there's a lot more that goes on in the art coaching videos, because I have to create, a painting. And what if I don't like a painting? And that pressure kind of, I didn't really like what's happening with that pressure. So that really scared me, because, I did say like, hey, like, I'm going to keep doing this. And I did say on Instagram, like, I'm going to post an art coaching video every week. And so I did this thing called the fear setting exercise. It's by Tim Ferriss. He's an entrepreneur, like, investor, yada, yada. He has this exercise, and this is a really good exercise for anyone who's like, if there's something that you're afraid to do but you want to do, this is a really great exercise to like really understand why it is you're afraid. Because a lot of us, when we're afraid to do something, we kind of just make that fear really vague. So for example, if we'll say like, we don't want to do something because we're afraid of what people will think. And that's really, really vague. And we really don't understand. It makes the fear bigger than it is, and it makes us be able to stay in confusion about it, because it's just so vague. So I did the fear setting exercise, which pretty much talks about like, really getting specific on what it is that you're afraid of. Like, what's the worst possible scenario that could happen if you do this thing that you're scared of? And for me, it's pretty much to not commit, like, to not commit to doing an art coaching video every week. And then the other thing is to kind of let go of the art identity. And so I did the fear setting exercise, and I found out for me that like the worst possible case scenario, the thing that I'm most afraid of is, well, one was that I will lose all of my subscribers. Like, everyone will be gone. No one will be interested. But I was able to grapple with that last week, right? Like, it's okay. I'm okay with that. But the other thing that really scared me is that everyone in the Discord group is going to ask for a refund for coming and joining the Discord group. And so when I made the fear clear, like what it is that I'm actually afraid of, I was able to be like, okay, if that is the worst thing that will happen, and that's what I'm really scared of, that's really not bad. Like, if somebody wants a refund, if somebody is not happy with the group or is not happy with the kind of content, or like just decided that they don't want to support me anymore because they don't like the content I'm creating and they want a refund, yeah, that's totally fine. Of course I will give a refund. Like, that's no problem. And if something like that fails, like, that's okay. Failure is part of the process, right? So then I really did start to think, okay, all right, like, let's say I do this. Let's say I kind of like let go of this art identity. And let me explain why I have been kind of wanting to let it go, or just like consider it. So since I was a kid, I drew a lot. Like, I remember drawing as a child and having fun, just like any child would have fun when they're drawing. And I just remember an adult like showing me attention because I drew something and she liked what I drew. And I remember what I drew was a horse. I drew a horse and I got the attention of this teacher. And ever since that, I drew a ridiculous amount of horses. And like all from the same angle, all the same kind of horse that she liked. Like, it was never from the front, it was always from the side. I added flowers here and there, but that's it. Like, I just drew a shit ton of horses for a really long time as a kid, because I was like, oh, this is how I get attention. This is how I am interesting. This is how I get love, pretty much. And so throughout like middle school and high school, I had a lot of self-loathing, as you know. And so I remember that I really wanted to, like, every time that I moved away from art for a little bit, anytime I saw art, I was like, oh shit, like I need to get back into it because this is the only way that I can be interesting. This is the only way that anyone would like me, or how I would like myself. So I kind of boxed myself in this artist identity because, like I said, I thought this was the only way that I could be an interesting person. This is the only way that anyone would want to talk to me about. Because, and that tends to happen, right? Like a lot of people, when I say that I'm an artist, they're like, ooh, like cool, like they get interested. And so I just really thought that this was the only thing interesting about me. And so throughout middle school and high school, I was really known as the artsy girl. But, you know, and it's funny though, like I feel like I milked that as well. But also, I think in the way that I dressed too, like I think I maybe just looked artsy. I guess I was a little bit goth, a little bit emo here and there. So like, even though there were other people who drew a lot more than me, I think, in high school. So anyway, so like for a really long time, I've been like boxing myself in this identity of an artist. And then in high school, as I was about to graduate and we're trying to figure out like what our career was, I still like decided I wanted to be an artist, but I got really scared. I was really scared that I didn't want to be a starving artist. Like I was known as an artist and I was getting a lot of interest because of me being known as an artist, but then I didn't want to ruin that by being like a failure artist. So I remember thinking that like I decided to be, I mean, I really loved video games, so I decided to be a video game artist. And that's great. Like, I seriously don't regret that at all. I'm so glad that I went to a school where I got to learn the technicalities, I got to learn anatomy, composition, lighting, color. So I'm really, really thankful that I went that route. But pretty much, I just feel like I was so afraid of being a failure that, like, I wanted to go to the art field where actual money was making, so like video game school. And then I also thought that like, ooh, being a gamer girl, like that's gonna make me extra interesting as well, because that was kind of like not a big thing back then. So pretty much I just kind of like kept boxing myself, and I really hope that you guys don't take offense to this because like it's not the goal, I guess, that boxes you in. So like if you want to be a video game artist, that's amazing, right? It's the reasons why we do things that actually like matter. So for me, the reason I wanted to do that was because I didn't believe in myself. I didn't believe that I had anything to say. I didn't believe that I could be like a fine artist, quote unquote, that I could just create art on its own and it being valuable. Like I really thought that I had nothing to say. And I even though I think that's actually the route that I wanted to go. But anyway, so I was like boxing myself in this, and then and people would too, I guess, right? Like people has totally associated with me as an artist. And so recently when I was like telling my friends, hey, I'm really passionate about mental health, I've decided to become a life coach. I'm going to go to Texas for training. I'm really, really excited about it. And my friends were like, dude, that's awesome. Like you could do art therapy. You could involve art in some way. And, because art is also like all about expressing emotion. Like I'm so excited for you about your art therapy. And this was also quite in conflict for me when I was really struggling with art, when I like was wondering if I actually hated it because it was bringing me so much anxiety. So yeah, I was having a really love-hate relationship with the art identity, and I got annoyed when my friends were like, oh, art therapy stuff, because for so long I've boxed myself into the art identity because I thought that it's what made me interesting. And so when somebody else boxed me in, I found that really annoying. And so I have been considering, like, could I really do this? Could I really actually, like, let it go kind of thing? So that's what the fear setting exercise was all about. And so I tried it on. Like, I thought about it. Okay, like, let me think, like, how would that feel like? What do I do? And I, like, pretended for a bit, like, I am not an artist, quote unquote. And that didn't feel right either. Because I am an artist, because I do really enjoy painting. And I was reminded of Jim Carrey. If you guys have ever seen his kind of viral interview where he was freaking out the interview lady because he was talking about like the lady was like, oh, did you like pick this outfit today? And he was like, I didn't. Oh yeah, he said like my mask put on these clothes. I didn't, but my mask did. And what he was trying to say is that like personalities is really just a mask that we wear, and we go out onto the world with this mask. And I feel like I just understood really what he's talking about. And I saw a different video where a guy was like analyzing it, and pretty much what it is that we as humans, oh my god, this is where things can get really cerebral and confusing, but who we really are is we are just pure consciousness. That's what we are. And that's what I mean, and what a lot of teachers in personal development mean when we say, you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness of your thoughts, which essentially is just pure consciousness. And so a personality, it's just this thing we picked. We just picked this personality. And so with that in mind, and as this life coach, like, I have been playing with this thought of like, oh, like, and especially because I hear a lot in personal development that you really create yourself, like you can create who you are. And so I've been really playing with the thought of like, I am my own work of art. Like, I really see personality as works of art. I really see the brain as this malleable thing, as like a canvas or as a block of clay that can be shaped and worked on. And so as a life coach, I definitely see myself as an artist of the mind. And like I said, I am trying to create myself. So I see myself as my own work of art. I really see every one of us as walking works of art. So I definitely identify as an artist in that sense. And then as I think more about creation of ourselves, like I have been really thinking about fashion a lot lately, because it is a part of our creation. Like, we decide what we wear and how we create our appearance, and then that is part of our creation. I see it as like an art form as well right now. Like, I've always been interested in fashion, or at least caring about my appearance, not in just about like making myself pretty or making myself beautiful, but it's like I really liked designing what I was wearing, but I've just always believed that I had bad taste. I've always had that story in my head for a very long time. And when I was a kid, I could afford fashion magazines, but it would like be the only thing I could buy pretty much, and I just didn't think it was worth it, because in the end, I also wasn't interested in what was in those fashion magazines. But like all of my friends who really love fashion and they talk about enjoying fashion and they are fashionable, like they read 17, they read Teen Vogue and all that stuff. And I never did, because I just felt like I couldn't really afford it. Like I would rather spend that money on something else. I mean, fashion magazines are fucking expensive and it's just filled with ads. Like, I didn't understand why anyone would buy it, but I had this story in my head that you only had good taste if you read those things, because those are like Bibles, right? Or those are like guidebooks, and all of my friends read them and I saw them as very fashionable people. And so I've just always had this story in my head that I'm not fashionable, that I have bad taste because I've never studied, I guess, right? And then so I've been thinking about like, well, then what if trendsetters don't have good taste? Like, what if it's not about whether you have good taste or not? What if they're just people who really believed that they had good taste, like beyond what anyone else says, you know? And so I've just been thinking about that stuff like on a totally different level, and I've just been really enjoying dressing again lately, like designing what I wear has been really fun, and I feel really good during the day because it's part of the art that I'm creating every day, part of my creation of myself, and then again, like, I have no interest in letting go of painting because it's part of like putting out onto the world, or putting out physically some of these ideas that I have in my head. But I just kind of see digital art, or I see the stuff that I do in Photoshop just really differently now. Like, I'm super curious of what is going to come out. And so doing that exercise and like thinking about letting go of the art identity, it's not letting go of it. Like, it's not saying I'm not. It's more of just like a totally different relationship to it. I just see art in everything right now, and it's really fucking weird. It's just this shift, I guess. It's like, I feel like it's kind of removing the digital artist in my title to just like artist with a capital A. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I just have this newfound appreciation for like Warhol, Van Gogh, Kanye, like just a lot of the masters, or a lot of the like big name artists, I guess is what I'm not sure if that's what I'm trying to say, but pretty much it's like when people asked me what do I do in the past, I would say like, oh, like, yeah, I'm a digital artist, or I'm an artist, and then they'd be like, oh, really? Like, what kind of art do you do? And then I would say, oh, I paint on the computer, and like that's what I would say, and it would feel like, okay, yeah, that's what I did. But then like now, if someone asks me what do I do, what kind of art do I do, I right now don't really know what to say. Like, I feel like my answer would make me sound crazy, which is fine. I don't mind that. But like, this is what I mean by that shift, that identity shift. And it's really confusing, like, and it's really uncomfortable, you know? Like, it feels great. I feel really empowered. I feel really like my mind feels really open and kind of, but it's not comfortable. And I totally understand why why many people in general, why we avoid personal development, or like why we avoid growth sometimes, because it's not comfortable. Like, it may sound good, right? And then we kind of beat ourselves up wondering why we don't do it, but it's pretty clear why we don't do it. And that's how I feel right now, is like, it's not comfortable at all. You know, it's really scary. Like, I'm honestly a little bit, like, I've done a few sketches and stuff since I got back, and they felt awesome, but I'm honestly kind of scared to get in there, because I'm scared to kind of find out as well, like what's happening. But yeah, it's not comfortable. But pretty much the conclusion, I guess, is that I don't think I'm not going to commit to doing like an art coaching video every single week. I'm going to just let it out as it feels right. Like I have two commitments for sure, which is the podcast and the life coaching, and then the art one is just gonna come as it feels good, because with this new way of thinking, I guess, like I really want to I just want to see where it goes a little bit. I want to leave it a little bit free, and yeah. But I do still really want to do a weekly live stream. I think that would be really fun. Yeah, that would be really fun to do, like a weekly live stream. It's just like, if I don't like how it turns out, I don't want to publish it onto YouTube, and then so I don't want to freak out if I don't like a painting that week to have like a video, that like having to put that video out. You know what I mean? Yeah, okay, I really hope this makes sense. I hope this like is interesting at all and not too fucking weird. Yeah. Okay. All right, bye guys. See you in the next episode. Bye.